East Iowa Union Newsbreak. I'm your host, Nick Steffens. School officials say they have reason to expect enrollment numbers to climb this year after enrollment numbers in Washington School District showed 64 new students, more than it's seen in several years. While the trend doesn't guarantee a rise in total enrollment counted in October to determine state funding allocations, Superintendent Willie Stone said he was optimistic. We'll see when registration comes back. We may have lost a few also. I can't say we're up 64. I hope we are, because that would be a great punch in the arm for us, but I do believe that will be up some. The tally includes 21 new students at Stewart, 14 at Lincoln, 13 at the middle school, and 16 at the high school. The official count is likely an underestimate, however. Stone said about 3 more students had reached out and registered in the day between the official count and the school board meeting Wednesday night, with more expected down the line. Late additional registrations are a good problem to have for the schools, where enrollment numbers dropped drastically in the early years of the COVID-19 pandemic and grew back slower than expected last school year. Because of the limited data, it's hard to determine a reason numbers would increase this school year. While the influx may be the result of students returning to in-person learning 3 years after the pandemic onset, it could just as easily be the result of an unrelated population growth or less obvious factors. That I don't know, Stone said. We just took a count of how many kids came in that day to get registered. Staying in Washington, Washington County Hospital and Clinics has received a 4-star overall rating from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services for 2021. One out of 82 critical access hospitals in the state, WCHC was one of 10 that earned the rating. We strive every day to provide patients with safe, high quality, and positive experiences. This rating directly reflects the commitment and dedication of our healthcare workers to our patients, said WCHC CEO Todd Patterson. CMS released its hospital overall quality star ratings on July 28th, rating hospitals for their service last year on a scale of 1 to 5 stars. Around 14% of hospitals earned that top 5-star mark this year. The ratings are based on how well a hospital performs across different areas of quality, such as treating heart attacks and pneumonia, readmission rates, and safety of care, according to a statement from the federal agency. The score is based on the Hospital Consumer Assessment of Healthcare Providers and Systems survey administered by CMS. The surveys provide consumers an opportunity to evaluate a health system on over 50 performance measures and are administered to a random sample of patients between 48 hours and 6 weeks after their services were received. Yesterday, we reported on a boil order in Washington. A boil order spanning a block of South 3rd Avenue in Washington was lifted Thursday at 8:41 a.m., according to an email from the city. The order, affecting around a dozen homes between Harrison and Tyler Street, lasted over a day and was the result of a water main break in the area. Looking at Keota now, the Keota City Council voted unanimously to approve a bid on a new municipal aquatic center at its August 1st meeting. The vote sets plans in motion for an over $2 million project, with contractors expected to break ground in early September, according to city officials. City Council member Keith Conrad, who made the motion for approval, said the project was exciting for residents who have gone without a pool since the old one was closed in 2018 for health and safety reasons. There's a lot of excitement. It's something we used to have and then we lost, he said. It's good for the city because it gives us amenities that we haven't had. It keeps us competitive. It gives people a reason to settle back in our community. Features of the facility include a 3,700 square foot pool with a 0 entry plus a new bath house and an 800 square foot splash pad. While the city has agreed to pay for utility hookups and operate the pool once it opens, it is not expected to raise municipal taxes. While the Keota Pool Advocates Organization has raised most of the necessary money, organizers said they had $830,000 to go before they could completely cover the almost $2.4 million project. The group's 501c3 organization, called the Keota Pool and Aquatic Foundation, plans to raise the rest of the money. Nick Beinhart, a spokesperson for the Keota Pool Advocates, as well as the foundation, said the group would need continued community support to make that happen. The foundation already has matching funds lined up for the next $150,000. We still have a long road ahead to finish funding this project, he said. Your generous donations have gotten us where we are today, and they will keep us into tomorrow. If you haven't donated yet or are considering donating, now is a great time to help us utilize the matching funds. Beinhart said the project represented progress in the city on the border of Washington and Keokuk counties. Keota is not the same town it was 10 years ago, he said. Investment in our town is happening, and building this pool is just a stepping stone to the next great project that can help move our town further ahead in the future. We feel very strongly that the new aquatic center will bring great value to our community and provide education and recreation for our families and children for years to come. That was our top stories. It is now time for obituaries. Charles Ellison Jr. of Donaldson passed away on August 9th at the age of 85. Schmidt's Funeral Home is in charge of arrangements. James G. Freshwaters of Minnetonka, Minnesota passed away August 7th at the age of 87. Adams Funeral Home of Ames is in charge of arrangements. We're going to take a brief break, and when we come back, we will have the weather and sports.
Since 1905, Kelowna Cooperative Technology Company has helped our community stay connected with the latest advancements in clear, dependable telecommunications services. KCTC provides rural Iowans with access to high-speed fiber internet, as well as phone, television, computer repair, and cybersecurity solutions. We're also proud supporters of local organizations and area schools within the community. KCTC, keeping Kelowna connected.
Welcome back to the Southeast Iowa Union News Break. I'm your host, Nick Steffens. It is now time for the weather.
The weather is brought to you by Jacqueline Ariola, LLC.
Come visit Jackie in her new location downtown. She is ready to serve Washington and the surrounding community. The clouds have come out to block the sun after a beautiful morning today. The high will be 85 and the low is 61. It's going to be a cloudy start to the weekend, unfortunately, tomorrow, and there will also be a high of 77, so pretty chilly. There'll be more sun on Saturday with significantly higher temperatures with a high of 92, and there will also be partly cloudy skies. Sunday will remain partly cloudy, although temperatures will drop back down to 82 degrees, and we will start the work week Monday with similar conditions, partly cloudy skies, and a high of 81. That was the weather. It is now time for sports.
Sports, brought to you by Fairway.
Waco football is one of the best in the area to grace the field back in 2021. While they will be without 8 from last year's team, the Warriors have an abundance of talent to be one of the top teams once again. At quarterback, Isaac Oswald makes his return. The senior threw the ball for 827 yards and 10 touchdowns last season. Oswald also had 283 yards and 6 touchdowns on the ground last year, which was third best on a stout Waco ground game. Oswald will be the main man running the offense, but Simeon Reichenbach, who leads the Warriors in rushing, also has the potential to sling the ball. Reichenbach, also a senior, threw for 95 yards and 2 touchdowns last year. On the ground, it's Reichenbach leading the way in 2021. He ran for a whopping 1,400 yards and 23 touchdowns on 195 carries. He was one of the best in the area, and this year is looking like it will be the same. The Warriors will be without their second leading rusher in graduate John Rice. On the bright side, junior Reese Oswald is back. He ran for 302 yards and 3 touchdowns. Senior Drew Dyers follows as the third Warrior to return that finished with over 100 yards rushing last fall. Dyers had 170 yards and 3 touchdowns last time around. Dyers was also Waco's leading receiver as far as yards go. He caught 8 balls for 202 yards and 5 touchdowns. Reichenbach followed in the receiving column with 176 yards on 11 receptions. The Warriors' schedule matches last year's. Waco won each of its regular season games last season, but fell in the 8-man quarterfinal round to Audubon. Their schedule is as followed. They will start the season August 20th versus Southeast Warren in Martinsdale. Next, they will be home again against Springville, and then another home game against HLV. Then there will be a stint of road games against English Valleys, and then at Iowa Valley, they will be back home against New London on September 23rd, and then away at Lone Tree October 7th, they'll be home against Winfield Mount Union, and then end the season October 14th away against Tri-County. That was the news for Washington and the surrounding area today. This is the Southeast Iowa Union News Break. I've been your host, Nick Steffens, and I will see you next time.